Okay, I'm going to try to draw this image that you see right here upside down, and we're going to try to do this very quickly, and hopefully you'll see just how much easier it is to draw upside down than right side up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start drawing for you, just drawing on the pad here, the sketch pad, just what I see in this picture, and I'm going to be looking at shapes, lines, basically that's it, lines and shapes, and I'm not going to be naming parts such as that's an eye, that's a nose, that's a mouth, that's hair. I'm going to try to block that out of my brain, and instead of drawing on the left side of the brain, drawing things the way I think they look, I will draw on the right side of the brain and draw things the way they actually appear. And the idea of this is to just make your hand do what your eye sees and draw as quickly as you possibly can. You don't want to draw too quickly, because you want to really be able to define shapes and distance. You're concerned about proportions, so you want to try to draw this in such a way as to just draw the exact shapes that you see, using light lines, heavy lines. Just you're basically wanting to mimic a Xerox copier and draw just what you see, making your hand do what your eye sees. But you're doing this upside down so that you don't name parts, and you kind of trick the brain into just, convincing yourself that all you're doing is drawing lines and shapes. So let's see how this goes. We'll draw this quickly, and then we'll turn it right side up after we're through, and we'll see how it looks. If I can get the camera angle just right here, I'll begin drawing a shape. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start pretty much with, I think you can start just about anywhere you want to on the drawing, but I'm going to just start with the outside of the cheek, what I know is a cheek, but once again we're not naming parts. We're just drawing lines. So let's just kind of dig into this and see how this goes. All right. I'm just making my hand do what my eye sees. So we may not do a complete drawing, but basically you should get the idea here off of that as to what exactly we are doing. I'm not really concerned about things being exact. What I am concerned about is shape, and I want to make sure that I kind of have my shapes in here correctly. I know that my hand is, her hand in the drawing is, which I know is her hand. I kind of identified the location for that. And of course, this right here that you see is her mouth. It's just a shape, just like you would see in the drawing. course, the nose, if you look at the nose where you know the nose is, it's not really a whole lot to draw right there, but we do want to be careful that we just sort of got, get this positioned right. We want to be concerned about proportion. Same with the eyes. It's not really as important as how you hold the pencil, or at least in my opinion, how you draw, as much as it is what it is you're drawing. You just want to make it look like the picture. You want it. You just need to keep telling yourself that this is lines, this is all that it is, and that you are, you're not looking at this as what you know that it is. Like, we know that this is a small child, but we don't want to identify it as such. Artists just don't really name parts. What they do is they draw things by means of line and shapes, and then of course you go on afterwards, you go on to values. But proportion is typically probably one of the hardest things for any artist to master. It just takes practice. But you shouldn't let a drawing scare you just because it looks too hard. If you look at something right side up, it's going to be more intimidating than it is if you turn it upside down. I'm just moving right along, just drawing shapes, using line to draw shapes. You want to be careful that you don't go too heavy with lines that are supposed to be light, and you might want to consider drawing lighter at first. But basically we're just drawing what we see. We're not making anything up. Once we get kind of comfortable with this method, of just drawing what we see, letting our hand do what our eye sees, the more we do that, the more comfortable we get with it. Just concentrating on shapes and values. Here, that's what we're doing. So let's just come out here on this, grab this one shape that we know it's a bubble pipe. She's blowing bubbles, but I can't emphasize enough the fact that we don't name parts. We just really don't want to do that. We're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot whenever we do that. Now, this is not by any means a complete drawing because I went over scale. It kind of ran off the edge of the paper here, but hopefully you'll get an idea of what we did. Basically, what I'd like for you, I hope that you see, the dynamics behind upside down drawing, and just see the benefit that comes from it. We don't have to be intimidated by something that we draw. And there's one thing I'd like to just leave you with here, and that is not only do we not draw things the way we think they look, we draw them the way they actually appear. And in addition to that, nothing is any harder to draw than anything else, because we're drawing it the same way. And that's what drawing on the right side of the brain is. And anyone can do it. So happy drawing, and look forward to seeing you next time. Not bad. Could be better, but not too bad.